Hi, second graders. Welcome back to social studies. As you know, we've been learning about being a good citizen. And so far, we have learned first, we learned about Audrey Faye Hendricks. Remember, she was the 9-year-old who marched and protested for something that she knew was wrong and she wanted to make right. So that's what she did. She marched. That's one thing that she did to be a good citizen. Someone else we've learned about is Harriet Tubman. And Harriet Tubman, what did she do to be a good citizen? One of the things she did was she helped free other people. She helped other people, not just herself. She thought of other people and how she could help them. And she was very brave for doing this. And then today we're going to focus on this person called Hiawatha and the Peacemaker. So there are two people who really helped change and help their community. So let's see what they did to help better their community. I'm going to be reading this book, but I'm kind of going to skip around and just talk a little about what's happening. So sometimes I'll be reading the pages, and sometimes I'm just going to tell you part of the story, because it is kind of a long story, so I want to make it a little bit shorter, but you guys still know what they did to help their community. So this book is called Hiawatha and the Peacemaker. It's based on a true story, okay? Oh, and before I start, who are these people and where did they live and when? Well, these people are native people from the United States. So this was before, remember how there were people from England and Spain and France, these European people who took over the land of the natives and made the United States? Well, this was a time before that happened. So the native people were living here and they had their own tribes. Okay, so this is the time of Hiawatha and the Peacemaker. Let's go ahead and start reading their story. Hiawatha and the Peacemaker. A fierce scream echoed through the woodlands. Was it a dream? An eerie steam crept up from the ground, and the smell of burning pine filled the air. My blurry vision came into sharp focus. Everything I'd ever known had been burned to the ground. My wife and 3 beautiful daughters had been killed in battle. Everything was gone. Only one man was capable of such horror, the evil chief, Tadadaho. So you can see his pain and anger. I took shelter up the river. I had only a small fire and a place to sleep. I dressed my wounds with leaves I had gathered from a bush. Days, then weeks went by, consumed by anger and hunger and sleeplessness. I could think only of revenge. So he wanted to get back at this chief who had done these awful things and started this war. The sun rose early one morning and burned the mist of the river. It was as if a path had been cleared for what happened next. A blinding reflection came off the water, and from it a man paddled gently toward me. I reached the shore, and I realized the reflection was caused by the sun hitting his hand-carved white stone canoe. So you see this guy's coming in this white canoe. Doesn't know who he is. Who are you? Why have you come here? I asked. He answered only with a smile and handed me a string of wampum shells as an offering, basically saying, I'm coming in peace. We stood quietly, observing each other. And then he spoke softly, stumbling over his words. I know of your pain. I know of your loss. I carry a message of healing. I have come to tell you of the great law. Fighting among our people must stop. We must come together as one body, one mind, and one heart. Peace, power, and righteousness shall be the way. I considered his words, but I didn't believe him. Our people governed only through fear. I had never thought peace among our tribes was a possibility. The man spoke again. Travel with me to the land of the Mohawk, and let us spread the good word. As you can hear, my voice is quiet and my words difficult to understand. I know that you speak with power and confidence, and that your voice carries straight to the heart. I need your help, my friend. I need you to help me carry this message. So let's pause here for a second. This is the peacemaker. And remember, he has this message. He's saying we need to stop fighting. We need to stop fighting and we need to come together as one together. And he is like, I'm not sure about this, but he's a good speaker. He's good at talking to people and convincing people. But he is not a very good speaker. So he's saying, I need you to help me bring this message to other people that we should stop fighting. But anyways, it looks like he decides to go anyways. And he said, I agreed to travel with him and help carry his message. And so I, Hiawatha, came to tell the story of the great peacemaker. So he goes with him and they go to the people of the Mohawk people, which Hiawatha is a part of the Mohawk people. So it's his own people. He goes to them and he tells them the message that the peacemaker brings. He says, we need to stop fighting and we need to come together as one. But they don't listen right away. They say, you know what? We like that message, but we don't think it's going to work. What if they try to start a war with us? How can we trust that this can work? So anyways, they go and they say, you know what? We're going to go and see if we can get more people to join our cause. So they decide, I'm going to go and get more people and prove to you that we can do this. So they end up going to the people of the Cayuga tribe and they tell them their message of peace. They say, hey, Cayuga people, will you join us in being at peace and no longer fighting? And in the end, yes, they joined them. So it's not just them going, they joined, the Cayuga people say, we want peace. So then they go and they travel to the next place. And they go to the Seneca people. And at first it looks like they're not going to listen to them. But then they put down their weapons and they say, we want to know more about this peace and coming together. So they tell them their message. And look, guess who joins them? The Seneca people. So now you have the Cayuga people and you have the Seneca people saying, we want peace. We don't want to fight anymore. So then they keep on going. They're going to the next place. They go to the Oneida people and they tell them their story and their message of peace. And after a while, they listen and look, they've joined them. So now we have the Cayuga people, the Seneca people, and the Oyenda people, or Oweida people. Sorry, it's hard to read it. So now you have three different nations, three different groups of people saying, we don't want to fight anymore, we want peace. So then all these three chiefs come together and they go back to the Mohawk people, the people that Hiawatha is a part of. And they say, hey, we came all together. We're all here together. Will you join us? And they say, I don't know about this. They're still not sure. But guess what? In the end, after a little bit, they say, you know what? We will join you. So now 4 different nations. We have the Cayuga people. We have the Seneca people. We have the Oyeida people and the Mohawk people. All of them are together and saying, we want peace. We do not want to fight anymore. We shouldn't fight each other. And so now you have 4 nations together, united. And they're going to go to this chief that started all this war and evil. So they go to him, and this is what it says. The wicked Tadadaho lived separately from his people. Bands of warriors stood guard day and night. When we arrived, they yelled and pushed us away. The peacemaker kept his hands by his side to discourage violence, but the chief and I pushed back. And then they find Tadadaho standing there, and he looks like sick and evil, because he was just consumed with all these evil things that he had done. And they all start getting angry and fighting each other. But then the peacemaker, he starts singing. And they all drop their weapons and start joining him in singing. And that's when they decide, it says, I gathered roots and herbs for the medicine. But how could I help heal a man who had brought me so much misery? How could I forgive him? So the peacemaker tells him, hey, give him this medicine. And he's like, I need to give this person who just did awful things to me, I need to help him? Yet I put my heart and soul into the potion, and with this action, my anger disappeared. I entered the hut with the medicine paste and fresh water. I explained that every day some of the paste must be mixed with water and drunk. Tahadaho grabbed the medicine from my hands and drank. His strained breathing eased. The evil look in his eye softened. He appeared to wonder why a man, to whom he had brought so much pain, would help to heal him. The peacemaker told Tahadaho that we would return in 3 days and to continue taking the medicine. We traveled back to the people of the Cayuga, Mohawk, Seneca, and Oneida and told them of our encounter. On the 3rd day, a mass of people followed us to the land of Onondaga to see Chief Tahadaho once again. Tahadaho's voice had returned, but he was still hunched over and sickly. The peacemaker approached him, and with all the tribes watching, placed his hand above his head and chanted. Tahadaho let out a scream, and the snakes slithered from his hair into the grass where they belonged. So it seems like he's no longer sick. Everyone followed the peacemaker to the tall white pine. He placed his hand on my back, and once again I spoke for him. People of all nations must now come together as one. Beneath this tree we shall bury all our weapons of war. This will symbolize the end of our fighting. The men uprooted the white pine and threw their weapons into the hole. Now we will replant this tree, and it shall be called the Tree of Peace. So see how they put all their weapons down here so they can't fight each other anymore? As I looked at Tahadaho, the scales of his skin began to disappear. The peacemaker placed his fist over his heart, and again I spoke. As 5 nations, we will bring forth peace, power, and righteousness. The women of our tribe shall appoint the chiefs, and as one people we shall live under the protection of the great law. All voices will be heard as we now vote before action is taken. I looked at Tahadaho, and the once croaked man now stood upright. And then they basically are just seeing how they're now going to be a people of peace. And that's the end of the story. So what we can learn from Hiawatha and the peacemaker is that we as citizens, we can share messages to other people, messages that will help our communities. So if you think something's important for people to know, you can share that. Your voice matters. You telling other people something, it can change how things happen. So share your messages of love and peace to other people. Don't just keep it in your head and in your heart. You need to share that with other people. So give me 1 second so I can show you my little poster to see what Hiawatha and the peacemaker did. Okay, guys, so here I wrote Hiawatha and the peacemaker. What did they do? They shared a message of peace and forgiveness. So what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to think of a message you have, something you want your classmates and other people to know, and you think it's important for them to know and do. And what you're going to do is on the drawing pad, you're going to make a little sign that's a message to your classmates. What do you want them to know and do? So maybe you want people to live at peace. Maybe you want them to not bully people. Maybe you want them to be kind to others, even if they're not their friends. Think of a message you want to share to your classmates and write it out and share it with them on Seesaw. That's your assignment. Go to the drawing pad, write your message, and turn it in. I can't wait to see the messages you guys share. Your voices are powerful, so use them.